All right, Paul Hefty here, 492W. We want to look at our new philosophy of leadership, looking at pre-quiz number 1. So we'll review, reflect, and what we can learn from this. So your first pre-quiz 1 was just a reflection over the Economist article. And again, think about what you liked, what were some things that you were in agreement with, and then also things you disliked that you would disagree with. And that's okay to have both of these as you go. Also like you to think about some new points that they brought out, maybe you hadn't thought about before, maybe some that you found there were some similar philosophies. Also what might be different or even just crazy, but most importantly, what you could apply now to your leadership of your business. Again, real simple here, 2 points, just give some feedback. Again, this is what you want to do whenever we're looking at articles, research, videos throughout the course. All right, review point number 1 with the Economist. One thing I like at the start is they talk about the 3 hardest words for a business leader to speak is I don't know. The old model was to fake it or just you never could be wrong as a leader. The bonus article talked about in the University of Sydney Business School that failure then became an opportunity. So what we want to think about in the class here is our leadership, and as you do your projects, it's okay to fail early on. Remember, the early projects are of a lower percentage. What we want to do is learn from those mistakes, and then as we go through the course and the weight of the grade increases, we hopefully are making big improvements and grade out very well. So again, it's kind of a starting point. Think of it that way. It needs to be humility-driven vision of leadership, meaning it just can't be a means to an end. You have to think about the process and the people. And that there's tons of different ways to do this. Again, you're going to see in your business design, hopefully everybody designs a little different type of business, and there's a lot of ways to do that. That's what's beauty about the business world, and be successful. But there's a couple different things we want to find as core components so that you can do that as well as possible. Point number 2, there are social consequences for your decisions. One thing you have to think about now as the leader is you're making decisions for everybody who's involved with your business, whether it's an employee or whether it's a client. So again, it's just not about how it impacts you. You have to start thinking about how other people are impacted, but more importantly, how they would approach and think of the way you lead. So again, it's talking about we need to revise our management structure. And you can see with everything that's going on in our world today, we need to look at different ways to manage the health industry. And again, think about not making wholesale changes, but kind of different approaches, as it says here, tinkering at the edges. Again, the challenge should be to create a business that's for the greater good of everyone involved. So what can we learn and we use? Second strategy for business and academic worlds here. What we're doing is we're trying to create a new way, a more holistic approach to not only education, but to the health industry. We've all heard this now in the health industry of where you have to treat the person and not just the problem. Whatever we're doing, whether it's therapy, whether it's medical, whether it's just selling medical devices. So again, we want to be creative in the way we develop and design not just the products, but the services, and we want to think about a social need. One thing to think about here is why was the Economist article written? I want you to quickly look at this article and click on this at the bottom and pause it here. And it'll give you a little bit of a historical background of what was going on in our country. And the reason I had you read this is sometimes the research we do, it's better to go outside of our industry and we can learn a ton from others. What happened with economists up until the recession here in the 2000s, economists had a formula and you just did it and that's what worked. And what happened is that all got blown out of the water. And so now we're having to rethink the way we do our economy. And it's the same thing that's happening in our world today with the health industry. Very similar, where there was a method, there was a plan, But obviously now in 2020, we need to look at different ways and create this, think of it, what's good for the social need of everyone and a more holistic approach. Again, using all the different education models, not just science, but also history, research, and then leadership philosophy. So thoughts for our 492 organization or company. I would suggest you look at balance. Don't be a purist. It's kind of dangerous, and that's what happened here in the article. They're saying we need to have a holistic approach. Try to be creative. It's okay, especially early, and we can learn from those mistakes as they talked the University of Sydney Business School. Again, as I said, the holistic approach to the health industry, it's the way we want to lead and do our business, personalized healthcare. Think of it that way in your business design. Big thing with the course, have a willingness to learn and deal with a little different type of course mindset here where we're a business and we're not really a class. You need to do the research. I'm going to give you a lot of ideas, a lot of great areas to start with, but this is where the sharing of the research on the CPDs with the discussions is important. You can all use each other's research then, so it should be easy to have quality research and a great quantity when you start to do your projects, and that's key so that we don't have a bias in how we do our design. Be open to present and share new ideas and concepts. Just throw things out there on the board, and again, we can interact and ask questions amongst each other there. Again, study other areas. It doesn't have to just be a PT clinic if that's your business you're designing. Look at all different areas in the health industry, and even as the Economist article, look at businesses outside of the health industry. Again, the key here is you search for the answers. I'll try to keep probing you with questions instead of just giving you the answers to things. The big one is be smart enough to know what you don't know, meaning be open to new things, new ideas, new ways of doing things as we go through the course.